Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Biblio Fitness. Hope everyone's had a great day, made some amazing gains, and I do want to apologize for this. This is going to be rectified, and I'm looking like a bum. So yeah, I don't like this look. Don't like it. But whatever. So besides that, hope everyone has made amazing gains. Today is a Wednesday, so you already know what that means. Rest day. And I did make this the subject of this video yesterday, and I wanted to put it out, but then I realized that the content was so stupid. It was an 8-minute video on something that I could talk about for hours. So clearly, I was like they beat my ass that I wasn't able to think clearly. So here we go. This is take two, and what I wanted to talk about was truth and the black pill. You know what I'm saying, and the fact that it's amazing that once you get when you break everything down and when you really want to gaze into the depths and the abyss, reality and truth itself is not something it's actually antithetical to life. If you really think about it, it's opposing life. And it brings the question, why the fuck did we ever even want to make the endeavor? Like, why did we start the endeavor of wanting to find this truth, this thing that we all could get behind? And it is a will to power, of course. You want everyone to follow your rules. Because every attempt for truth and something we all could get behind is built on lies, right? It is built on this need to develop a system to categorize things in a manner that allows us to survive life. The quintessential problem of our wiring is that we got too self-aware for our own good. That's what I really think about it at the end of the day, is that we got too conscious for our own good. The mechanisms and the needs of survival in themselves were no longer enough of a justification to continue on living, right? We became sentient. We escaped the cave, and we got away from our truly animalistic instincts of just survival and procreation. That no longer was necessary. And it also makes sense why every single structure is built on these biological processes, God and states and everything, marriage, all these things are built on biological processes and survival. But we just became abstract, and we had to extrapolate, and we had to create things out of our instincts. But then we started believing in those make-believe structures for so long that those lies became true. And one can make a very good case that we need more lies than we do the truth, right? The truth will not set you free. The truth, it will, but they don't really tell you the cost of that freedom. What it will set you free, but to what? To nihilism, I guess one could say. That is a problem that was dealt with by Arthur Schopenhauer, right? The will is just pure struggle, meaningless, pointless strife and conflict and violence, while it is universally necessary for the new to devour the old based on these universal laws, right? Something that is beyond our comprehension in terms of ever finding an origin as a purpose to this, right? We can make all the assumptions we want, but we will never know. Why is this universe in itself built on suffering, built on strife, built on conflict? Why is that the case? We'll never know. But that is a problem that Arthur Schopenhauer originally faced, and he turned to Buddhism, a rejection of pleasures and pains, and a rejection of continuing to play the game. That's the only way. He didn't, his morals didn't want him to participate consciously in the devouring of the old, I suppose. So, and that is always the problem, and that is something that even Nietzsche has to kind of kind of tells you that you have to come up with your own beliefs. And that is the true problem, right? Is that we know that once you get past to this layer, you begin to know the truth, and that is that everything that you make up is out of you and out of your own self-interest. So everything is subjective, right? And while it is freeing, it's very difficult to now assimilate beliefs into your consciousness, right? Because now you don't believe anything is valid. That's the problem that Nietzsche talks about, is that when people start to realize the lies of Christianity, they will believe that all truths are lies as well. So they will become nihilistic, right? They become absolutists. And that's just it's a terrifying proposition, because once you realize the truth and realize that all values are bullshit, the big problem for most people is that there is such a thing as a hierarchy, and there is such a thing as domination and a force and a will to power. That is the true the only absolute truth in our human construct is the will to dominate, the will to be better and stronger than others. You know what I'm saying? Like, while Nietzsche, I believe, does get this part wrong as some sort of hereditary thing, because history comes to show that just because you are a great man does not mean that your offspring will be anywhere near your greatness. How many great examples of fathers and their empires crumble to pieces because of their inept line of descendants. That happens all the time. So that I don't believe is right. I believe that a meritocracy truly is the best, and that does have its democratic connotations. But I do believe that, you can't just rely on a certain select family to bring it all together. Education is obviously extremely important, but it shouldn't be allocated to a specific group of people. That is where I do have to disagree. You never know where you can find genius. You never know where you can find creativity. You never know where you can find ingenuity by having this sort of myopic vision towards where talent can truly reside. And like I said, that does bring out the democratic spirit in me, but I don't have any problems admitting that, right? It does allow, for variety to really come to the forefront. And while, variety and constant ingenuity does bring problems, because that innately suggests that you are dissatisfied with the current system, it's still, I believe, important, because the life itself is constantly changing, and for you to remain with the same values is antithetical to how nature is, right? You're gonna fall behind, and that's how revolutions arise, because you can't catch up to the winds of time. But be that as it may, the big problem with these democratic ways is the abolition of this of the hierarchy, right? This leveling out. But every single time a socialist regime comes to play, it's never the case, right? Because we're not solving our human nature. And, how many different themes are we going to fall behind to exercise the same will, really? The will to rule. No gods, no masters, but now they're the masters, Now we become masters. It is a resentful, envious sort of revolution, right? Like, we want what the others have. And then we come to rule, like, look at, Russia and Germany and Italy. It's just the same fucking thing. They run the same crap. It's just different excuses and different perceptions and different reasons of truth and why they're doing the right thing and who they care about. And it is always for the people, right? They always have to make it seem like they are catching the democratic wave and they are just the first citizen of the plebeian class. And we're doing this for the class struggle, even Karl Marx. Karl Marx is a great example of that. So it just really is that all these truths and these notions that we construct are really attempts to escape life as much as possible, escape reality as much as possible. Because it's only there that we can survive. We don't want to admit to these certain constructs, right? The constructs of domination, the construct that good and evil and good for humanity and love of one's neighbor These are just imposed upon you, but these are not part of nature. It is not in our nature to be this amicable. It is not in our nature to be docile. It is not in our nature to be, you know, timid and reserved and all these things. Like, that's against our nature. The entire basis of civilization is going against, is contra nature, right? No matter how much people want to convince you that it's otherwise. Like, how can it be the truth if it's completely against what we are born with? Like, how could this truth be beyond what we were given, right? It's nonsensical, really, but it is one of these noble fictions that you have to believe in order to continue to play the game. But it just, truth really is not what we pursue for the most part. We pursue these ideological values to conform the truth in a way that benefits us, in a way that makes us survive. And that same thing as Nietzsche proposes, you can't gaze there forever, because then you're not going to want to participate. You're not going to want to say yes to life and be like, you know what, it is what it is, right? This is just how it has to be, and I'm just going to make the best of it. I'm just going to use the laws of nature, real nature, to get what I want. And that's why I've said so many times that these moral concepts, if anything, are hindrances to growth. Because the only people that care are the poor, the people who go to the reaches of power, to reach the apex of power, understand the fundamental flaw and understand the truth that all this is bullshit. These are all just mechanisms of control. But I'm too smart and I don't care. I want to rule. So, you kind of pretend to care. You speak out in the rhetoric of the herd, but you're still committing egregious acts. You're not giving a fuck. You're absolutely Machiavellian. I'm going to read The Prince after this. I hope to finish the book this week. I'm almost there. I don't know. I can't make any guarantees, but I will try. So I can start reading The Prince and then go back to Nietzsche. But these are all just very interesting questions. It's like what to do, because do you accept this, right? The entire fucking wave that's been going on for millennia is an escape from that. Even today in the 21st century, to get away from hierarchy, we're blatantly saying we're against the patriarchy, we're against this, we're against the centralized control we want for everybody. It sounds resentful. It sounds like the same shit that's been going on forever. But now they want to place themselves as the moral masters. They're the ones that are saying, this is how you are good, this is how you are evil, these are the labels they throw at you. And the language that you have to use, they're very intelligent. They understand that once you control language, you control how people think, right? So it's just a continuation of this wave, this socialist wave, I guess you could say, this freedom or equality of all before God, equality of all before ideology, before truth. It really is against truth in its most basic sense, in its most fundamental sense, right? So, what do you do once you actually figure all this out? The logical course for most people will be nihilism, because what's the point? What's the point of creating values if I know that those values are lies? I have to. But should that be an obstacle? Because if you already know that there's no truth and the entirety of it all is to build something to help you, you might as well do something that's going to help you. But that's where the ideological biases that were put on you since you were born come into play, right? Because those sort of individualistic drives of using the laws of true nature to your advantage are seen as villainizing, as narcissistic to modern society, right? You can't do that. You can't fucking use the world and laws to your advantage. That's why there's always this bullshit preaching of always wanting to be honest or true. It's like they're scared. It's like, no, I don't want you to hide anything from me. What are you hiding from me? You have to be honest. You have to be truthful. You have to always mean what you say. or say what you mean. As so you really, it is great to get rid of those biases, because it's going to stop you from taking the next step, being a Machiavellian, without being hindered or without having that moment of trepidation, because most people see Machiavelli as an asshole, like, oh, but what would you say that? You can't say that. Like, you kind of like, he's like, the only reason he's villainized is because he's breaching the code of silence. Like, you can't be open about that. You kind of have to have people believe that this is an honest game, I think that's what it is. They're like, oh, how dare you say that? That's like, like, it's too true. It's too true. You have to, be quiet about it. It has to be a silent truth. It's so stupid, but I guess, it makes sense, right? That's why they want to do that, because they still want to use those same lies and those same conclusions that Machiavelli reached, but they just want to use it on the democratic terms in order to obtain power. So, it's all the game. So, it's a lot to question, and these are questions I'm gonna have to work with for a while, right? Because I'm also in this attempt to go against nature in a way, right? To go against, the poverty of family, or not coming from a good household to work, and to have to really struggle against your environment in order to succeed, for example. There's a lot of things in play. So I am also fighting against nature in my own way, but in the end, we all have to, because we got too sentient for our own good. We got too smart for our own good, I guess you could say. So I'll leave you guys with that. Hope you all have an amazing day. Hope you all enjoyed. And if you haven't read Beyond Good and Evil, please do. It's life changing. Love y'all, and until next time, peace.